Hello, welcome to ASL Week 3 Weekly Recap with me, TCP. And today, well, we have another weekly recap with me. So hopefully this one goes a bit smoother than last time. We have 4 weekly heroes for this week. We have Volcarona, Keldeo, Florgus, and Sigalith. And you might be looking at those stats and seeing, oh, Kartana got 4 kills and 0 deaths this week. Why is that not a weekly hero? Well, the reason why it's not a weekly hero is because we don't use, it's tradition around here, not really repeat weekly heroes unless, like, there isn't enough weekly heroes that week. So even though Kartana did get 4 kills, there was enough Pokemon with the 3-0, 4-1 situation that we didn't need to bring Kartana back in as a weekly. So instead, our weekly hero from this game is Keldeo, which got 4 kills. Let's watch this. So first, Mega Diancie comes in. It's Jensen Lando. I guess you're afraid of Scarf, because it's leading with a Scarf is pretty common, especially from Shadow's side. You just kind of have to expect it to be Scarf. So not risking anything, Melone doesn't let his Diancie die, or potentially Scarf. In comes Keldeo, giving off a Surf. Doesn't do much to Gyarados, but it does a little bit. The Gyarados Mega Evolves. In comes Cofagrigus. It goes for a Thunderbolt, indicating that it's probably teched that for Keldeo, even though something like Earthquake probably does more. We got our first kill, a Hydro Pump destroying that Landorus. But I wonder why he is Thunderbolt Mega Gyarados. I guess he could be special. No, that doesn't make much sense. Maybe it's for chat out. I don't know. I don't know why he's Thunderbolt Mega Gyarados, but he is. Anyways, the Zeraora is setting up a Calm Mind. I didn't know Zeraora got Calm Mind. I thought it only got Work Up. Anyways, so out comes a crit return doing a lot of damage. And then a crit back killing off... Well, the crit... I guess Shadow said that the Thunderbolt against Licky Licky didn't matter, indicating that it's probably Metronome. Anyways, so Mega Diancie comes in, Moonblast kills the Swellow. Swellow's down. In comes the Kartana, not doing anything to this Volbeat. So Volbeat gets to stay in for free. Volbeat goes for a Tail Glow, and it's indicating that it's going to Baton Pass. Yep, it Baton Pass into Keldeo, because that will take a hit from this Gyarados. Thunderbolt doesn't do much, so I'm not sure. You have to believe that at +1, Earthquake does around the same. But Secret Sword also one-shots that Arbok, and in comes the Scarf Kartana to Psycho Cut and kill the Keldeo. They both live at 1, even despite not being Sash, it doesn't seem. I think this is confirmed Scarf Kartana, because I think it was Scarf Keldeo, based on how everything went down, because the Keldeo outsped the Zeraora, the Kartana outsped the Keldeo. So yeah, this is like confirmed Scarfed Kartana and Scarf Keldeo. But the problem here is that this Volbeat, even though it can take all of the hits all day, it can't do a single point of damage because it doesn't have any attacking moves. So this Kartana is just out here Malone's trying to PP stall it, but Psycho Cut has a lot of PP, and he's not going to be able to overcome it at the end of the day. I'll skip through some turns so we can see what goes down. Eventually he runs out of Roost, and he just dies. And everything else is slower than the Scarf Kartana, so they also die. That's game 1. Shadow ends up taking it 1-0 for our first battle of the day. Wow. So moving on, next we got Texas versus Cody. Cody ends up pulling off a 5-0 victory. No weekly heroes from this week because the kills are spread out. But let's see what goes down. But first off, it's a Blastoise versus Quillfish lead. This is kind of leaning towards Quillfish because Quillfish can set up a T-Spike. But Blastoise actually does a lot of damage with that Dark Pulse. And goes for a Water Pulse, predicting a switch. Maybe predicting the Destiny Bond as well. Now this Quillfish is kind of useless. He maybe should have gone for a last resort. Oh no. Toxic Spike maybe? Maybe a Spike even though it is a Blastoise in front of it. If he goes for like a Spike or a Toxic Spike, then he can go Coco and force him to switch out and then go for a turn, predicting a Steelix and then be in a good position. But he didn't do that, and now we're in a situation where, oh, I guess maybe the Quillfish didn't have Spikes because Fortress has Spikes. But in comes the Swampert on the Greninja. Takes a Grass Knot. Not well, but it takes it and nonetheless. In comes Tapu Koko, probably predicting another Grass Knot, and there's a Spike predicting the swap. Here comes Cody predicting every single switch and getting it right. Anyways, here comes Celebi in on the Drampa. Drampa's actually really threatening because its coverage can, I think, hit everything. I don't think there's anything that really wants to swap into it or it's going to be faster. So Hyper Voice is going to just claim a kill here. Especially at +1, this thing is kind of a threat to get maybe even 2 or 3 kills. In comes the Cocos, threatening the Dazzling Gleam or the Z Fairy. So in comes the Steelix to potentially take that. Yep, there's a Dazzling Gleam. And he's probably going to go for a Steel-type move because there isn't really much downside because the Swampert is chipped earlier from... No, never mind, it's an Earthquake. But the Swampert is not able to answer the Steelix anymore because it is so chipped from the Grass Knot from earlier. Pretty much Texas's only hope is maybe Aerodactyl. But in comes Greninja. Greninja maybe show... Oh wait, it can't be Scarf. He goes for Water Shuriken, trying to get the 4 hits. He gets the 4 hits, which is improbable, but it works out for Cody. Steelix was at pretty much full, so it probably didn't matter that much. That he did get the Water Shuriken kills. It just means that he's going to get higher differential this battle. In comes the Hawlucha to finish off this potential Celebi, knowing that he wouldn't go for the Psychic type move on a Greninja because at this point you're just playing for differential. And I guess Cody's also playing for differential and just getting the last 2 kills on the Hawlucha. Maybe he's going for kills on the Hawlucha. But either way, Cody wins a pretty dominating victory. And moving on. Next, we got Peaches versus Matt Metagross. And in this battle, Volcarona is actually a weekly hero with 3 kills. So let's see how that happened. So first off, Mesprit comes in versus the Bronzong. I bet both are either planning on setting up rocks. Nope, there's a U-turn for Matt. Going hard into Infernape. Going for the crit Flare Blitz. Which might lead you to believe that maybe Bronzong is heat-proof. But maybe not. Maybe Bronzong just has really good Spadaf. Anyways, this Infernape is really low, so it's in range of Shadow Sneak from the Mega Glade. In comes Donphan on the Mesprit, this time predicting the rocks, trying to spin him off, maybe try to keep him off. But there goes the Assault Vest, there's a spin, rocks are trying to stay off. So Mespirit's trying to potentially kill this Donphan so that rocks can stay up. Because if Donphan is the only form of removal, then once Donphan dies, and if Mesprit can kill the Donphan, then he can keep up rocks. But Peaches is ready to just sacrifice this Donphan and Rapid Spin until so that it doesn't become a situation where rocks are up and he can't get him off. So that Volcarona doesn't get 50% chip every single time it comes in. Assuming that Donphan is his only form of removal. Which isn't proven at this point, but by the way he played, it seems like it is. So, but Mesprit is chipped to a point where it dies to rocks, so Peaches doesn't need to worry about that. He goes for the SD. A Shadow Sneak crit kills the Scyther. Apparently that mattered. And But however, this Mega Absol is faster. It does one-shot the Mega Gallade. In comes the Tapu Fini. It Moonblast pretty much hits everything, but it doesn't hit the Miltank really that hard. He has to worry about potentially Curse Miltank at this point. And that's probably why he goes for the taunt. Trying to make sure that Curse Miltank isn't going to be a problem. If he is Cursed. But anyways, in comes the Whimsicott. It uses Growth, so it's potentially trying to sweep here. But the Miltank does have the Fire Punch. It isn't enough to kill. But there's a Z Nature-powered Twinkle Tackle. Stab, really powerful. But it's not enough to take down this Miltank. And in comes Volcarona, getting its first kill with the Fiery Dance. In comes Absol, and dying to what is now revealed to be Scarf Volcarona. And now it has the +1 Fiery Dance boost. It does 52% to the Kyurem. The Kyurem goes for the Fusion Bolt, doesn't kill, and is able to be finished off by the Fiery Dance. And Volcarona ate that hit from Kyurem actually surprisingly well. That's why it is a weekly hero with 3 kills, no deaths, after sweeping at the very end. Moving on to our next battle, we have Breaking the Dock because I'm so good. We have Brad versus Bash, the Feeble. Brad has taught Bash in the past. He has worked with Bash last season, trying to help him get to that championship. But this time, he's going up against Bash. No weekly heroes from this battle. And let's see what goes down. So first off, Rotom Wash. Rotom Wash is pretty much a good lead against most things. It takes a Psychic, not very well, but a Shadow Ball is going to do a lot to this Latios and getting a Spadef drop. So in comes Scizor on another Psychic. Gets Pursuit trapped. So Latios is dead turn 3. That's pretty big because Latios is kind of a threat against any team. But in comes the Tornadus against the Conkeldurr, taking the Drain Punch relatively well. I believe this match, it was already revealed at the very beginning that the Tornadus doesn't have an item. So that will indicate that it's probably Acrobatics, if I remember correctly. But anyways, this Charizard's going to be able to Sword Stance up. Thunder Punch does 64% on the Haze, but with the burn damage, that puts it in range of another Thunder Punch, taking out the Milotic. Milotic is down. In comes the Aggron, and in comes the Tentacruel to take a Head Smash. Not very well, but it means that this Aggron is Rock Head, and I believe it's also not... Maybe it's Scarfed? Maybe that's why he brought it in right after? Maybe it's Scarfed and he was trying to, and he was able to outspeed the Charizard after a Haze, when it had no speed investment. But it didn't have any speed investment anyways. Never mind, maybe it's... So he goes for the Thunder Punch, it's slower, never mind, it's not Scarfed. It's not a Scarfed Aggron, or if it is, it's just really slow. So in comes the Rotom, and it does a lot of damage with this Volt Switch. In comes the Acrobatics Tornadus, taking a Mach Punch. Not well, but it takes it well enough. And in comes the Aggron once again. A Tailwind comes out from the Tornadus as it goes down to Heavy Slam. In comes Rotom Wash as Mimikyu comes in. Not positive why... Oh yeah, he's probably relying on Aggron to win this battle. So, because Scizor is still around and really healthy, he doesn't really have to worry about it too much. But this Volt Switching is just going to mean that everything is... His Bash can't really afford to sack anything anymore. And everything is just going to get chipped down to just Brad U-turning and Volt Switching, pretty much securing the win no matter what. So U-turn is enough to kill the Mimikyu. In comes the Rotom Wash. It probably outspeeds the Aggron because it's not Scarfed. And Volt Switch is going to finish off the Aggron, leading to a 3-0 victory for Brad. Moving on, we got Ian versus Vish. This is actually a pretty big battle, because both were coming into this undefeated. So the one who wins is guaranteed to go into the next week 3-0. And as we've seen before, I believe Cody is 3-0 and Vish is 3-0. I don't think anyone else is 3-0 if I remember correctly. But this is going to be an interesting match. You have Vish versus Ian. And let's start this off. So first we have an Aerodactyl lead versus an Azelf. I believe this is regular Aerodactyl. So they're both actually, in standard, they'd both probably be Suicide lead. So the Azelf actually shows that it's Scarfed because it's faster than this Aerodactyl. And the Rock Slide comes out from the Aerodactyl. Ian's just kind of switching around, trying to scout out the moveset of this Aerodactyl. He goes for the Zen Headbutt. Gets taunted again, even though I'm not sure why Vish went for the taunt there, because the Azelf showed that it was faster. So if it wanted to set up rocks, it would be able to anyways, even with the taunt. So I'm not positive why he taunted there, but he did. Anyways, the trick fails from the Clefable, showing that the Clefable is probably Scarf or Specs or some sort of choice item, and he can't really do much to this Lando. Because it is going to be Z move. The Fly misses, which kind of sucks, but the Clefable can't really swap out anyways. So, not sure why he went for Fly. If he goes for Earthquake, I guess he's trying to predict the Azelf coming in. But if he goes for the Earthquake and kills the Clefable anyways, he's not able to set up rocks because he is faster, which is, I don't know, it's just a weird play. But the Shell Smash Cloyster, or not Cloyster, Omastar is in. Goes for, tries to get a sweep, but I believe this is Scarfed Heliolisk, so it's gonna, oh wait, no. Would he swap out there if it was Scarfed Heliolisk? I mean, Beedrill has pretty good Spadef, so maybe he would. But in comes a knockoff on the Beedrill, trying to chip it down a bit. Trying to get in a position where it's gonna be, it's gonna be slower than Mega Zam. Mega Zam's going to get the adaptability, which is big damage, double damage psychic type move, which is going to be a lot. He goes Togekiss, predicting the U-turn, probably because it is obviously Scarf. He does want the Alakazam probably at full, yeah. He goes for the Hidden Power Ground. And at this point, Ian can't really do much, because it's just a Scarfed Azelf. He's gonna see what it gets locked into going to Lando. And just get the Intimidate off, because it has shown to be physical. All that Ian can really hope for now is for flinches from Zen Headbutt and to not miss. But he doesn't get the first flinch. Dazzling Gleam doesn't kill. The second Zen Headbutt is also not going to flinch. You need to flinch 2 times on this Alakazam and probably multiple times on the Heliolisk in order to win this. But he's unable to, and he ends up getting Dazzling Gleam twice and losing this game. So congrats to Vish for staying undefeated week 3. Moving on, we have me, TCP versus Splurge. So, yeah, let's get into this. We actually have a weekly hero from Florges this week. So in comes Seismitoad lead versus Pangoro. I just set up rocks against a knockoff, doing a lot of damage. Ideally, that's probably not the situation I want to be in, but Pangoro goes for a parting shot, predicting a swap, probably into my Florges. In comes the Claydol, probably wanting to spin, so I go back into the Seismitoad. And I believe I set up rocks once again. Yeah, I do. In comes the Celesteela, goes for the Flash Cannon against my Rotom Heat. Doesn't do much, and I just go for the Overheat, doing a pretty good amount to this Claydol. Swapping back into Seismitoad just in case he wants to spin, and he doesn't end up spinning, so I'm free to set up a Scald, and I get a burn, the 30% burn against this Celesteela, meaning that it really won't be able to heal up unless it does get recovery from a Healing Wish, potentially from Musharna. But in comes the Rotom Heat. It shows the Chardy Berry. And in comes the Rapidash. At this point, Splurge is making plays. and his plays pull off. He catches me off guard with the natural gift Rock, I believe, taking down the Rotom Heat, getting a low kick off, doing a lot of damage to the Kangaskhan, but the Kangaskhan is going to be able to set up a double power-up punch, so it's in a really threatening position. But I don't have Sucker Punch, so I just swap harder out into Florges. I go for a Moonblast, and it just kills the Pangoro through the Roselli Berry. I think Splurge's calcs were a bit off with, I believe he probably had it for defensive Florges in order to do something, but I'm able to, getting past that, I'm able to trick a Voice Scarf onto the Musharna that I was trying to set up, so Musharna is not going to be able to do much this battle. In comes the Musharna against the Machamp, who set up a Flame Orb, but the Jirachi is going to be able to take any single hit that this Musharna is going to have, because assuming that it's Fairy and Psychic coverage, it's not going to have anything to really hit Jirachi. So it's pretty safe U-turn there. And in comes the Kangaskhan once again, going for the Drain Punch. Getting a little bit of health back on this Celesteela, just trying to 1v1. Put itself in a position where... What was I putting myself in a position? Oh yeah, just take out the Celesteela. That's really the only reason I found it. I believe now I go for a Power Punch. Yep, there. Get a boost. In comes the Musharna. And there's an interesting play here. Mamosang comes in. I just stay in return. I have no real reason to feel like I need to preserve differential. So I go for the damage onto the Musharna, and he just predicts my Jirachi because it's a pretty safe play. But anyways, oh wait, Florges is not a weekly hero. I messed up. Florges is not a weekly hero. Florges only got 2 kills. Rapidash killed itself. Oh shit. Well, I'm not re-recording this just to fix that. Well, moving on. Moving on to our final battle of the week. We're gonna ignore my mistake there. It is Bret versus Static. A 5-0 victory for our last weekly hero from the Sigilyph. Can't believe I messed up on the dock. Never mind. I'll change the dock later. It's gonna be fixed. Florges is not a weekly hero for some, because it didn't get 3 kills. Anyways, moving back into this battle, we have a early parting shot into the Vaporeon on the Flareon. Being burned is not the worst thing on Vaporeon because it means that it's not going to get toxic or dur. And also, the Vaporeon can also have Healing Wish. So, and the Shaman can have Aromatherapy. So it's not the worst position to be in. Anyways, we're going to see a Wish from this Vaporeon. It's going to be able to take all of these hits really well, actually. I can't believe it took that Volt Switch so well from the Mega Manectric. I can't believe, actually, that the Thunderbolt from Mew is actually doing more. That kind of tells you that maybe Manectric isn't really invested in special attack. I think that's the only explanation, because Stab Volt Switch from Manectric should be doing more than Thunderbolt from a Mew. Unless the Manectric isn't invested and the Mew is invested in. That's good information to have for Static. So in comes the Sigilyph on the Sylveon. Yeah, that's what it is. And he's able to go for another parting shot into this Vaporeon. This time, Bret is going to go for the Superpower, trying to chip down this Vaporeon. He doesn't really have a great way of killing it, because those things that are super effective aren't going to be doing enough damage to kill it. Anyways, he's going for a Wish. He goes into Shaman, probably predicting Thunderbolt. There's probably a roll at that point to kill his Vaporeon, and he doesn't really want to risk it, because Vaporeon kind of takes on most things really well. Anyways, a Seed Flare from onto the Cryogonal isn't going to do enough. Bret goes hard into Manectric, predicting a swap probably, but he's unable to get Static to swap. Static's just staying in with everything, and he's able to do some damage to this Manectric and get it down to a really low percentage. So if he gets up rocks later, he potentially just limits that thing's ability to do anything. Rocks is actually getting really threatening at this point because Bret's spinner, the Cryogonal, goes down, so once rocks go up, there's a lot of things getting chipped down really easily. Unless they get wish passed from this Sylveon, and it doesn't seem like the Sylveon will be able to do that very effectively. Because if the... Actually, it could do that effectively. Anyways, Flareon comes in, goes for a Flare Blitz onto the Vaporeon, doing some damage, taking some recoil. Seems like if he goes for another Flare Blitz, he will be able to take down the Vaporeon, but he will be taking down himself as well. In comes the Manectric against the Silvally. I don't think Silvally has to worry about dying, nope. And it's able to probably go for a free parting shot onto the Sylveon, into the Sigilyph, and it's time, I believe, for the Sigilyph to start setting up. It takes nothing from a Hyper Voice. I'm not sure. This kind of tells me that the way that Bret played, that he might not know what Sigilyph does, because Sigilyph is pretty much always Calm Mind, and yeah, he just had no responses to it after the Flareon goes down, because after the Flareon goes down, he's pretty much either slower or confirmed to be special, so the Sigilyph can set up for free. So once Flareon is down, because Flareon has pretty good Spadef, that was probably the one thing stopping Static, because it could probably kill the Sigilyph in one hit. But it has Wonder Skin, so it doesn't really have to worry about anything stopping its setup, like this Toxic. At this point, all Bret is going for is a crit, but he's not going to get it. In comes the Mew, goes for the Ice Beam. He had a chance for a Freeze there. I guess that shows that it was Scarf Mew. But he had a chance for a Freeze there if he didn't go for the Toxic. That was probably his one chance to win. But then the Crabominable would have came in and probably ate it up because it seemed to be Scarf Mew. Anyways, Static is able to pull off a 5-0 victory, getting 4 kills on Sigilyph, being our weekly hero. And we can look at this overview for the week. 1-0, 5-0, 2-0, 3-0, 2-0, 4-0, 5-0. No 6-0s this week. I think there's been a 6-0 the past 2 weeks. But no 6-0 this week, just 5-0s. The season is starting off. We have a lot of 1-2 teams, a lot of 2-1 teams, a few 0-3 teams. Probably going to turn around real quick, because I don't expect Bret and Texas and... Actually, I don't know what to expect from Texas. But I don't expect Bret and Matt to always be in the slump at the early game. It's going to be really interesting to see if they can make playoffs, because starting off from a 0-3 deficit, that's already... 0-3 is already the point where you're being knocked out of those first 2 seeds. So you really need to push it all the way if you can, if you want to make that run for playoffs. If you can... comparing it to other players, right now, the 0-3 players are kind of in a difficult spot, because if they lose 3 to 4 more times, that's the point when they're starting to get knocked out of playoffs. Whereas other players have potentials to let 4 or 5 losses happen before they're in danger of losing a playoff spot. So, that's what's going on this week. Next week, it will either be Bash or Melone taking over the weekly recap. Maybe Bash will be back from vacation and we'll be able to catch him up. But if he is not, we're going to have Melone taking over once again for weekly recap. Might just be me and him. We'll see. But next up, tomorrow should be the Eliminator game. Spoiler alert, if you watched the Eliminator last game, you already know what we picked for this week, and you know what happens. And for the power rankings, that should be coming out Saturday. Now, Bret has new internet, so he should be able to upload it on time. No late from Bret. I believe it's Bret and Melone again, but it might be Bret and Bash, I'm not sure. But we'll see. That's been me, TCP, and goodbye.